Bring back the energy. Yes, 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 yes. All right. This was very selfish and not AI generated, so I can ensure it's a 2005 camera. Hi, everyone, for a second time on this stage. The lights are really in my face, so apologies if I make weird faces. Like, you're gonna see this slide many times. I'm actually sandwiched between Revolut Talk and Wise. That's why I didn't include them here. No, I'm joking. You're great. Um, so this is where I make the point where everything looks the same, right? Sea of sameness. We have been hearing this for a while. But when I'm usually stuck, and it happens a lot, I open like download a bunch of apps on my phone and try them out. I really hope that some idea somewhere sparks out, right? But it's hard. It's hard when everything kind of looks the same, and we live in this crazy AI world, right? Use AI for everything. So I asked Goose, our internal agent, to design a financial app to see what comes out of it. Yeah, that was like pretty same too. It even maybe took some risks. Actually, added some splash of color, which I couldn't see on the other ones. Um, but that's how LLM works. It feed off what we've created. I think more the wild part for me was it generated that in 5 seconds. And I don't know about you, but it would have taken me maybe like at least 5 minutes to put it together, even with the best design system, right? So that's when it hit me. If 5 seconds, this is, I can hear an engineer or a PM in this room maybe could be like, let's ship this. It could actually, it's shippable, right? Um, but this is like good enough now. So if AI can do good enough in like 5 seconds, what should actually we as designers should be spending our time on? So at Cash App, good enough has always been the baseline for us. What makes a card is that it's a human behind it, right? Like a human that uses it. And we design our cards with customers. We let them draw on it. They add imperfections on purpose, express their personalities. But we don't stop there. We try to blast that radius of expression into the app. So when customers open their app, it's unmistakably theirs. They know it's theirs. But we don't stop there. We dive deeper into our customers' passions, their habits. Actually, what do they spend their money on, right? That Formula One ticket you bought with this card, that's not just a transaction. That's a car on an actual track. So tell me, can AI care this much to go to that level of depth? Our purpose at Cash App as designers is basically to build the financial system for the next generation. So I'm sure a lot of you here who work at finance have been asking this question to your customers maybe. Where do you bank? Who is your bank? And a bunch of customers recently told us they bank where they spend their money. And that's changed everything for us. We sort of decided to dive deeper into that insight. And we realized today's customers don't live paycheck to paycheck. Now, a lot of banks consider that getting customers' salaries or paycheck deposited is what makes them primary bankers. But that's not true. Side hustles, freelance work, multiple incomes. The 9 to 5 is dead. The corporate is dead. Paychecks don't come once a month. They come in multiples, sometimes in consistent patterns. So why hasn't banking evolved their definition of what banking should be? Frankly, we were sort of doing the same at Cash App 3 months ago. We were asking customers to deposit their paycheck in order to even give them the best of very product. And I live in the US, I'm not an American, but in the US, if you don't have a credit score, you're kind of doomed, you cannot do anything. And this paycheck was like sort of the driving mechanism behind giving opportunity to people to even get a mortgage, right? So we wanted to change our strategy based on the customer insight we got. If customers consider spending their primary way of banking, we wanted it to connect it to the best of our product. No subscription fees, no annual fees, no pro and plus and whatnot, no paychecks. If you spend with us, we give you the very best we have. What's the catch though, right? You have this strategy, everyone's aligned. Well, I think Tom said it, but we work in a very similar way as Intercom, where every 3 months we change our priorities. So we had to ship this in 3 months. If we believed in that strategy, we had to show that it had results within 3 months. We were freaking out, but I'm a true believer that in difficult times, we come up with like innovative solutions of like how to manage it. The problem here was crunching the time we had. 3 months, not just to design, not just to discover, but to build and ship it to everyone. One shot in November. Actually, you're one of the first ones to see this work. So how do we do this? We build a 3-point belief system. We used AI as an instrument, not as an intelligence. Because we were crunched on time, it required weekly cycles with everyone in the company and leadership. Every week, we had to come up with not just an idea, but an actual concept that they can feel it out and test it out and see if we are moving in the right direction. I cannot stress enough how short time was. So we start the project on Monday. We need, by the end of the day, to determine what's the scope of this thing. Because on Wednesday, we have what we call a leadership unblock session. I open Figma, dive deeper, just like casual. I spent maybe 2-3 hours trying to organize, annotate, prototype, record videos, just to explain what was going on in the product, what are we going to touch, what are we going to change. My team was not engaging. They were like, I don't have time to look at this. Uh, and it made me realize static Figmas don't make the cut anymore. They were not driving the conversation anymore. I couldn't even get my engineers to feedback on the work. How the hell are we going to present this to leadership? I'm sure you've all heard about Cursor by now. I mean, I'm the like sixth talk talking about this. Apologies in advance. But I think I realized that I would just open this, give it like my last shot, and try this new tool to see where it gets me. And it prototyped some version within like 4 hours. We sat down with my content designer. And there was a QR code that I just sent it out to everyone. I said, you should try this, try it and give me feedback. What was beautiful about it, and let's be honest, this looks absolutely crap, was the fact that I managed to get a conversation going. Engineers could feedback on, oh, this is too complex to touch. We might not be able to, we need to rethink these other parts. We need to collaborate with this team. And suddenly by the end of today, we had a scope. Feeling that Cursor prototype was worth 1,000 meetings I would have had with my team. So Tuesday, people wake up and they're like, Meylin, that's not how it's gonna look like, right? But they were scared that we were gonna ship this. And of course not. I did this prototype out of adversity, not because I believe this is what we should shoot for. But it got the conversation going in the right direction. We were talking about the quality of what we are going to ship, not anymore about where we ship this. That's beautiful. So Midjourney comes in a little bit of help. Again, it's Tuesday, one day, I don't have time to talk to marketing teams, to brand teams, need to come up with something. And Midjourney helped me reimagine the Cash App logo as a jelly. It was a silly prompt, but it kind of started looking very interesting. Like it was different, it was resonant, this thing had identity. I sprinkled it everywhere in the app. We picked one, like it was not the best one. But it allowed us to bring a fast and cheap concept to leadership and ask, if we manage to do this in 2 days, imagine in 3 months what we can do. The question was, are we doing this? And the answer was, hell yes. Everyone was excited, we started making. So AI was really an instrument for us. We didn't use it as an intelligence or making decisions instead of us. We knew what it produced was not what we wanted, but it helped us have that conversation. But good decisions still take time. You need to sleep on it. You need to digest it. We cannot rush that process. So one of the first things we did after that Wednesday meeting was to define and set expectation. Where are we going to spend the rest of the 3 months on? We wanted really to talk and debate the name of this program, like Cash App Green. As I said, we didn't want to be a Cash App Plus or a Pro experience. We wanted to create a meaningful identity around it that resonated with our brand, told our story and our customers, and we wanted to work on the experience and simplify it as fast as possible. I think there's a sparkle icon. Please don't get triggered. We were out of ideas on identity, so we continued generating with AI, right? And created a bunch of options. But at some point, we felt absolute abundance of ideas. We didn't want that. None of these were telling our story, right? AI doesn't know when to stop, but we do, and that's the beauty of it. So we stopped and took a beat, and we came up with this concept, Cash App Green. Actually, our brand team came up with this. We call it the portal, a shape that represents our origin story. If you don't know about it, you can chat to me later. And a shape that worked from billboard to button. A shape that told our story and what we believed in. Our team gave it a meaning that we truly resonated with us. As the brand team was developing the concept, we started debating every word on the screen that we were talking about. That allowed us to really go and spend time and discuss, is this program an activation? Is this program something you earn, something you gain, something you unlock? What was the right verbiage? Because it's a simple word, but it unlocks so much from there. We even spend a lot of time in honing on what is the experience of this thing? What is the interaction? And that's all because AI allowed us to kind of speed up so much of the process of decision making that we could go and focus on making. So this month, we are launching Cash App Green, our rewards program. You'll see it actually next week if you check our website. It's benefits basically that allow customers to get what they need in a few simple steps. AI gave us speed, but what happened really in this process is we gave it meaning. Lastly, this one is a personal one. My advice, run away from bad taste if you can, sparkles and sprinkles and stars. I'll keep this one personal, but my favorite story is basically not from Cash App or even the digital world. We've been through this many, many times, right? Learn from history. It's from the Industrial Revolution. We've seen this moment before when everything became mechanized, uniformed, and generic. But there was one person that challenged that. Not by rejecting the production, but by reintroducing culture and meaning into everyday objects. This is Virgil Abloh, and you may know this shoe, it's the Jordan. But basically what he did is he took small and very deliberate choices to revitalize something so familiar as this shoe and brought it back to its iconic state. This is an oversold shoe, and he was very intentional about it. He wanted, basically, in his process, you could see that he wanted to reintroduce the human again. So there's stitches on purpose, and it shows that somebody touched that shoe and created it. So that philosophy inspires me a lot. Virgil Abloh took a lot from his own experience and upbringing. He grew up in Chicago, but he did a lot of other things beyond fashion. So we often talk with my colleagues, what's your experience like where you live? We are a remote company. So I live in New York, and people ask me that a lot. And recently, I started feeling more confidence to not just channel up the one destination I'm in, but my full background. I lived in all these cities. I think my running joke is if you don't haggle in Istanbul to buy something, it's kind of offensive, socially offensive. At the shop, they expect you to haggle and drop that price, right? And I also picked up DJing recently, and behind the decks, I don't know, there is a joke of what the hell DJs even do, but it's actually much harder. You have to curate and create a playlist of songs, and songs are so close to each one of us. It's such a responsibility to go on stage and say, hey, you're gonna listen to hours of what I've selected for you. Isn't that crazy concept? But that curation draws people into your set. You can see it in their eyes. And that's because whoever is playing at the decks actually cares about the music that they select. And this is very much within the AI world, right? AI can generate, but it will never care. And if you don't listen to me, listen to this icon.
To me, as a songwriter, but above all as an artist, conviction is everything. You literally die without it. It separates the frauds from the greats, the good singers from the trendsetters. It's Duchamp's Fountain, it's Dennis Pop, it's David fucking Lynch. It's an undeniable sense of style and personality, and of course, it's embracing the idea of daring to suck. In my opinion, from writing songs with no fear and no agenda other than making something totally reflective of who you are, come the best songs. All the songwriters in the room, I would just say, do it for your fucking self. Make what you want to hear, not what an A&R person has requested of you. Make something for the niche and not something broad. Don't try and be clever, be dumb, have fun, and play your songs to your friends. And above all, don't be afraid of yourself or of your own internal language, because it's the thing that makes you distinctly you.
And on that note, I hope that inspired you. It has inspired me many times. Really, like, just think about your perspective, think about who you are, where you're coming from, who is around you, because that matters the most. Like, AI will take over a lot of the menial decision making from us. So just use that perspective and take the time to shape it. Use AI to do the boring tasks for you so you can go to a museum or whatnot. But I'll stop here. Thank you.
Meylin, thank you so much. Special thanks of Edin Charlie XX. I also really like her. So, and I would like to listen to your digi set. That you really inspired me now. So let's come to our questions. We will start with the one from our remote audience. Okay, when did your team decide a feature was good enough to launch? And how did you design validate that threshold?
Yes, great question. I think deadlines work wonderfully because you can obviously, as a designer, push it forever. I always say, as a designer, my biggest enemy is race against time. So I would say deadlines. That's what's the decision maker, and just have a very ambitious team around you, and like keep pushing until it's really hard to stop. Like, you just use a deadline, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have any questions in the audience? Yeah, thank you for showing this. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the talk. That was brilliant and very inspiring. And I want to go back to what you said before. That was that we have around like much more than 100 years of experience in this room. Also, Tom mentioned conviction when you're designing, and I think that resonates a lot with that last message that you showed in your talk, which is that what can you recommend me as a person that has an opinion and wants to build opinionated um, products to actually be able to push that? And how can I build and present something to someone as a grassroots that has an opinion?
Yeah, I think framing it is really important. Sometimes, for example, like if I can give one tip, sometimes I say, hey, this is a provocation, so brace yourself for it. It's going to be very different from what you've ever seen.
Mhm.
And just like bracing that, basically articulating why you're sending what you're sending has proven to help me a lot. And of course, opening back the conversation. There's opinions, but it's usually should be loosely held because it should be shaped by everybody in the room. And I think the pushback I've seen is when I just send an opinion and do not accept anything back, and I think this is it. So like, yeah, like prefix it that this is a provocation for a debate, and then continue evolving that in the conversation with the people you're working with. It will 100% reshape from your original idea, but I always think it's for the better.
Thank you very much.
And I think we have a match into this question. Working remotely, how did you manage to get this message clear to everyone?
Yes. I mean, as I said, like the prototype helped a lot because it speaks. I think like we used to say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. It's kind of similar now. A prototype speaks 1,000 decks. I didn't have to do decks. People could like feel it and experience it. And I would say like that's probably was the most important thing, that we moved away from like meetings and documentation, and we moved into rapid prototyping through like Cursor or any other tool you're using, frankly.
Thank you, Meylin. Do we have other question in the audience? The last one.
Everyone's tired and wants to go for beers, I think.
Yes, let's then go with this. We will wrap it up and we will go for the break.
Yep.
So see you. Thank you, Meylin.
Thank you.